Right. Alright, how's it going, everybody? It's day 3 of my 7 days of videos, my first 7 days on YouTube. If you haven't seen the last two, I'd recommend you check those two out. But today, I apologize, is kind of done later at the end of the evening. It is almost 10 p.m. tonight. I've been really busy today at work and I had to go do some other stuff today. But I'm back and I promised I'd make a video, so I decided I'd stay up and make another video for you guys. Today I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind and that a lot of people have been talking about recently. It has to do with Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to be talking about them today. We'll save that for another video because that's a whole other topic. But it has to do with police brutality, shootings, crime, and how everything plays together. So, I wanted to first start out by saying that statistics, no matter what picture they paint, cannot be racist because they're just facts. They're just taken from instances that are put together and they paint a picture, whatever picture you have in your head that makes you a racist, really, not the statistics themselves. And I'm going to tell you these different statistics and you can judge for yourself what picture you paint in your own head, okay? I also wanted to say beforehand that I believe that each person is an individual. Okay, I do not believe that any person is defined by the statistics that happens of their race. I want to be clear that just because, let's say, most serial killers are white, which we'll talk about later, but let's just say that's true. Does that mean that I'm more likely to be a serial killer? No. You know why? Because I'm an individual. And I can make individual decisions that are going to take me where I want to go. As human beings, we are not animals, and therefore we have a cognitive power enough that we can choose our own fate. We can make our own decisions. And yeah, so do not judge an entire race based on minor details. I also wanted to say that I actually just got out of a relationship with an African American woman. So, again, kind of proves that I'm not what everybody paints me as. But that's irrelevant. We'll move on. First things first. What are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about what is Black Lives Matter. What are they upset about? What are they always preaching about? They're always saying, "Oh well, cops are racist and they target black people unfairly. And all races commit crime and they always are shooting black people and they're always killing us for no reason. And there's no justification and da 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 da. No justice, no peace. Hands up, don't shoot." Right? All that crap. But when you see something like that, let's just pretend this is not true, but let's just pretend for a moment that police officers do target black people, and then they do suspect them more often than other races, which I guess in some cases is true. Why would that be? You can't always just look at something as it is. You got to look at the other angles of it. You have to see it from both perspectives, and you got to ask something: why is it this way? That's how you become a good strategist. You have to ask why, because if you know why, then you know what they're going to do next, right? And therefore, you can avoid it. That's how the best military strategies in the world function. You learn to do that, and you guys will be a lot smarter. Okay, why, oh why, would a police officer suspect somebody more than somebody else? Can they look at somebody and just say, I think he's going to commit a crime, I think he is doing this? I'm sure after a little bit of time on the job they can start to suspect some of the signs of a criminal, but why would they suspect a specific race? Could it be that they are used to, because of their job, they see more crimes committed from this race? That could be something. Could it be that they just see the person acting suspiciously in their eyes and so an alarm gets triggered? Could it be that they're just in an area where they haven't seen them before and so they don't understand why they're there, so they kind of watch a little bit closer? All of those are possibles, I guess, in my opinion. But I don't know. The question is why. We'll talk about why. Now then, police officers shooting black people. Black people being shot unfairly by police officers. I want to say firstly that most of these people who are shot by officers, from what I've seen, they deserved it. Trayvon Martin, he deserved it. They said, oh, George Zimmerman, the white supremacist. The Mexican white supremacist? Or was he Cuban or Puerto Rican or something like that? He wasn't white. It's like calling Obama the white supremacist cop or white supremacist president. He's not white. You can't just make up white because it fits your narrative. He's Hispanic. You want to call Hispanic racist, go for it. But that kind of destroys your narrative now, doesn't it? Michael Brown attacked a police officer after robbing a store. He deserved to get shot. I'm sorry. It's true. Tamir Rice, my heart goes out to him and his family. That was awful, and I do apologize. But bad things happen when kids play with guns in the park and point them at officers, whether they were real or not. Now, that was not justified, and I do think that was wrong, but it was an accident. They don't deserve to go to jail for making a mistake. The cop feared for his life, and 2 cops had died in that park previously to Tamir Rice's shooting. Moving on. I'm going to start this firstly by saying that African Americans make up a specific percent of the population. In this case, in the United States, they make up 13% of the overall population. White Americans, non-Hispanic white Americans, make up roughly about 56 to 60%. Well, it's closer to 65. In some areas, that number goes all the way up to 90, and in some areas, the number drops dramatically to like 20 where I live. But overall, we are around 65% of the population. 60, 65. In between 55 and 65. Okay, there. Somewhere in there. Okay. So that 13% of the population, if Black Lives Matter was justified, and if they were completely right in everything they're saying, they should commit how much percent of the crime in America? They should be committing 13% of all murders. 13% of all murders. Robberies. 13% of all rapes. 13% of all different crimes such as that. Assault, battery, whatever you want to say. As 13% of the population per capita, therefore they should be committing exactly 13% of the crime. Am I correct in saying that? I think so. If you disagree with me, please explain why. If you're going to tell me that it's not fair to expect somebody to commit the same amount of crime as other people if we're all the same. Any objections? Liberals? No? Okay, I'm jotted down some notes for you guys again. This is from the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice crime statistics sheet from 1980 to 2008 states that 52% of homicides between those years were committed by African Americans. 13% of the population committed more than half of all murders in the United States. FBI crime statistics, more recent ones, up to date, they're from 2013, said that African Americans committed 41% of all murders. Whites commit less than half of all of these violent crimes compared to blacks per capita. White Americans committed 42% of all murders in 2013. 65% of the population committing less than half of the crime. That says something. Now then, the victims of racist attacks per capita. Everybody wants to say black people are targeted by these white supremacists and they're holding up crosses and they're burning them and they're beating black people with them and all these lynchings and the KKK party is going to grab black people and hang them from trees. And that's bullshit. I'm sorry. Now, this is from the CDC, and I also found another one from, what is the thing called? The Anti-Defamation League, and it was pretty much the same, but I didn't write the ADL one. I'll put it on my blog later on tonight. The victims of racist attacks per capita. In 10,000 people, 9 in 10,000 whites were attacked as victims of racial attacks, like hate crimes. 9 in 10,000 Hispanics were victims of hate crimes. 7 in 10,000 blacks were victims of race crimes. Therefore, blacks are less likely to be attacked racially than white people are. Yet in the news, you always hear about black people being targeted as the victims of all these racist crimes. You always hear about Hispanic, and yet whites are just up there with Hispanics, and far more whites are attacked per capita than blacks. Blacks are 7 times more likely than people of other races to commit murder, and 8 times more likely to commit robbery. That was from the DOJ once more. This is also from the DOJ. Of the 770,000 violent interracial crimes committed every year between whites and blacks, 85% of them are perpetrated by an African American offender. Blacks are estimated 39 times more likely to commit violent crimes toward whites than vice versa, and 136 times per capita more likely to commit robbery. Rape victims. Of white rape victims, 44.5% of these rape victims were raped by white men. 33.8% were raped by black men. This is from the FBI, so don't call the FBI racist. Black victims. Of all the rape victims, 0% were raped by white people. 3% were raped by Hispanic people, and 97% were raped by other black people. Now, what do these statistics tell us? They tell us that per capita, African Americans are committing more crime than other races. If you're committing more violent crime, you would expect then to be confronted by police more often. And if it's violent crime, then you should expect to have a violent response from said officers. Am I correct in that assumption? And therefore, truthfully, we should be able to deduce that more African Americans, because they're committing more crimes, are going to be shot by officers than white people. Am I correct in that deduction as well? Here's where I want you to think for a second. Of all the people every single year who are shot by police officers, of all the black people shot by police officers, even the ones who are unarmed or whatever else, you add all those people together, and 3 times as many white people will be shot every year by police officers. Now, we already said that we outnumber them 6-1, so it does make sense for us to be shot more, but then I have a counter for that as well. They're committing more violent crimes than us at an astonishing rate, and violent encounters with the police officer for them is much higher. Yet somehow white people are far more likely to be shot by an officer than a black man. And let me tell you why. It also makes sense perfectly in my opinion. If a police officer is in a confrontation with a white man, okay, the white man is not listening to officers. He's running away. He's fighting with cops. He's been tased. He's been pepper sprayed. It's not working. This man reaches into his coat pocket, grabs something, and starts to pull it out of his jacket. Police officers have their guns on him. They lay him out right there. He's dead. They had probable cause. He was going to shoot at them, and it's better him than them, right? Makes perfect sense in my mind. So they shoot him. It's in the newspaper, maybe. News might mention it. It's over. Next day, nobody talks about it ever again. Cop gets probably a medal for protecting his fellow officers, for doing his job dutifully, and he gets to go home, kiss his kids goodnight, and move on with his life. That same cop is in another situation. This time, the perpetrator is black. Black man is running from police officers, fighting with them. He gets tased, he gets pepper sprayed, nothing happens. They corner him. He reaches into his pocket. That cop sees him reach into his pocket. He's got a gun pointed on him, tells him to stop. The man starts pulling whatever it is out of his coat pocket. The police officer now shoots. We'll do both scenarios. He doesn't shoot the man. The man pulls out a gun, starts shooting at the officers. The officer is wounded. His fellow officers take the man out. End of story. Maybe this officer lives. Maybe he gets to go home and kiss his wife and kids. Maybe not. Now, other scenario. The man shoots. The officer shoots the man. He does have a gun, or he doesn't have a gun. Doesn't matter. As soon as he shoots the man, his gun is taken from him by his fellow officers. He's told to go home. He kisses his wife and kids goodnight. It's on the news, front page. Black Lives Matter comes to his town and is protesting outside his front door, yelling, "Death to cops! Kill the pigs! Hang the cops! Hang these people! Lynch them! All these racist ass cops! Yeah. Death to whitey! Kill white people! We hate white people! Whatever, whatever, whatever." There's riots, there's looting, houses are being busted into, white business owners are being beaten up, houses are burned down, we have TVs stolen, we have riots with cops being attacked left and right, people are dying unnecessarily. This cop loses his job at the very least, or is put on unpaid leave, very, very least, and goes to court for murder. Maybe if he gets indicted, he's got to fight for his freedom. If he doesn't get indicted, well, then that pisses Black Lives Matter off even more, and they try to make his life miserable. They give him death threats. They threaten his family. They threaten his kids. They threaten to kill people. The Black Panthers say they're going to put a bounty on his head and they want him dead. All this shit. And yet if it had been a white person, it'd been over right then and there. That's why more white people are shot by police officers than black people. Because a black person being shot changes that cop's life immediately, no matter if he deserved it or not. That cop has to consider whether or not his life will ever be the same. And because of that, they're more likely to shoot a white person than they are a black person. In fact, they're probably relieved when the suspect is white and they have to shoot him. I would be, honestly. But when you consider the media and the way they do it, when was the last time you saw news articles on a white person being shot by police officers? You don't see it because they don't talk about it. In conclusion, I want to wrap this up because I want it to be under 20 minutes this time. Black people are far more likely to be violent criminals, to commit violent crime. They represent 50% of the prison population. 1 in 3 African Americans will be charged with a felony. African American males before the age of 21. 3 in 4 African American households are single parent households without a father. And I think it's 7 in 8 black children are born out of wedlock. They grow up in a bad environment. They have bad idols. All of these hip hop people, all these rappers, they're bad idols. Not people they're supposed to be being looked up to. They raise these children in awful circumstances. And they teach them they can blame everybody else but themselves, and they don't have to take responsibility for anything they do. So then they do something stupid with the police officers, and they think that they're not going to be held accountable. And they get shot. Everybody around them immediately blames the cop because there's no accountability. Now that cop's life is ruined. He's probably going to have to be in protective custody for the rest of his life. His family's life is ruined. His city's going to get burned down, and he's probably going to kill himself out of guilt. It's not right. Whites are more likely to be killed by police officers. Less likely to commit crimes. More likely to be shot by a police officer wrongfully than a black person is rightfully to be shot by a police officer. Something to think about. As I said before, statistics can't be racist, so you have a bad picture of a certain race in your head now. That's your problem, not mine. I'm just pointing out statistics. And I will post these statistics on my Tumblr blog, and it's 14whitewolves.tumblr.com. Go ahead and follow me on there. I'll be posting this stuff every day. I'm going to ask you guys what you want to see for the next video, or comment it on the description below. I would love it. Once you like this video, if you enjoyed the information, feel free to share it with your friends. Let them know the truth. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be updating videos every single day. Got 4 more the next 4 days, and I'm going to be doing 2 every week. You guys can expect that. Plus, I'll be posting on my Tumblr all the damn time. So yeah, I wanted to thank everybody for watching. Say God bless you guys, and I pray that you all stay safe during all the next few months of craziness. And yeah, it's just about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.